This is your radio, Cayman.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 8th day of February 2023. Right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands want to remind you that your commute today is likely to, or at least this morning, is likely to be a little slower because of the rain, which means that the driving conditions have changed considerably. And as a result of that, you should be adjusting your driving to suit the conditions that you are now faced with. That applies to not only drivers of vehicles, it also applies to cyclists. It also applies to pedestrians as well, because pedestrians want to bear in mind that with the rain, wipers going on vehicles, drivers' visibility is also reduced as well. So we urge you, if you're on the roads this morning, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, and we also want to remind you that For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to make the right decision for your family's future today. So, For the Record birthday shoutouts, proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, who reminds you, make the right decision for your family's future today. For those of you who've lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. For those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and wet roads of the Cayman Islands this morning, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. As usual, this morning again, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-5 534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube. You do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, and we are on Facebook as well, so you can follow us on Facebook also. So let's go to the birthdays today. Let's see. First, we have on Facebook, Marla Strobley. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Strobley. She's celebrating a birthday today. And also Miss Judy Faye Penn celebrating a birthday as well. We want to wish them a happy birthday. We also have special birthday greetings to Kai Jefferson, who is 5 years old today. And Kai, these birthday greetings are coming from your parents, Dwight and Tracy, grandparents, John and Rena, brother, Kaleo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Kaleo, and sister, Kellyanne, and the rest of the family as well. So, Mr., or in the old days, they would say master, since you're not an adult yet. When you're an adult, they say Mr. Master Kai Jefferson, 5 years old today. Happy birthday coming from your entire family. Your parents, Dwight and Tracy, grandparents, John and Rena, brother Kaleo, and sister Kellyanne, and the rest of the family as well. I believe I saw another one come in since then. And let's see. Terry Nathan says that, good morning, everyone. Today is my birthday. I want to say thank God for allowing me to see another year and on another birthday as well. So, Terry Nathan, happy birthday to you. And you are giving God blessings for allowing you to get this far to see another year, and we hope that you live to see many, many more as well. And again, folks, to remind you that for the birthday shout-outs, proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, who reminds you to make the right decision for your family's future today. So, as I pointed out earlier, your commute today possibly will be a little slower because of the road conditions, and you want to adjust your driving to suit the conditions under which you are driving. On Monday, one of our listeners sent the question, what is defensive driving? And they shared with me the definition, or one definition of defensive driving as well. So let's talk a little bit about that. And then I also have a WhatsApp message that former senior member of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service shared with me. We were hoping that that person would be able to be on the phone with us on Monday, but unfortunately that did not happen. But I will share with you what they shared with me as well. So let's go to the whole issue of defensive driving. And this is one of those times, like I said, this morning, that you would want to drive defensively as well, based on the road conditions. So, defensive driving is a set of safe responses to potential hazards, including other drivers, damaged road surfaces, debris, inclement weather like we're experiencing this morning, and more. So getting behind the wheel isn't risk-free, and employing defensive driving techniques can help keep you and other drivers safe as well. Now, also, defensive driving includes anticipating what other drivers are going to do as well. It includes keeping your distance, leaving space around you for you to maneuver. You constantly see cars driving, vehicles driving at 40, 45 miles an hour, and they're alongside each other. Yes, when you're on highways, that is possible because the lanes are much wider. And one of the other things that I wanted to comment, this is an aside, if you notice the roads, for some reason that the government and the National Roads Authority are involved in, it seems as if they're trying to be as, what should I say? Those are people would say stingy. They're trying to be as stingy as possible with the space on the road. And we can understand, yes, it costs when you have to acquire property for roads. It costs the government money to acquire that in many instances. But if you compare the roads, some of the roads that are built by the National Roads Authority, and you compare some of the roads that are built by private entities, and you see the difference in the size of the lanes, including the walking and the bike lanes as well. There's a vast difference. So you will find on some of the roads in the Cayman Islands, the lanes are much narrower. So you don't want to drive side by side with someone, because if someone makes a move from one lane to the other without checking, without signaling, then you're in trouble. So you always want to ensure that you leave that space around you. It's almost like keeping yourself in a bubble. That's a part of defensive driving as well. We have to go to a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold. When we return, we will take that caller, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
After much hard work and planning, the first agriculture show was held on Ash Wednesday, 1967, on the school grounds behind the Georgetown Public Library. When school finished on the Tuesday, work crews worked through the afternoon and night to set up the grounds for the 9 a.m. start to the show. The first agriculture show was a tremendous success and would become an annual event, growing so large that after several years, the show was moved to a new larger location on the grounds on Walker's Road. Success would continue, and as the show grew, it was moved to the cricket grounds near the Smith Road Oval. However, the Civil Aviation Department was not in favor of the location, and property was subsequently purchased in Lower Valley in the early 70s, and the show found its current home once construction of the Stacy Waller Pavilion was completed.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced courtesy of Mr. Charles Lindbergh Eden, The History of Agriculture, 50th Annual Agriculture Show magazine.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
It's all about humanity.
It will be Saturday, March 4th, the 11th annual Rotary Central Health Check, the almost island-wide Rotary Health Screening. See us at Foster's Republic's West Bay, Cost You Less at Governor Square, West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Georgetown, Foster's at Countryside in Savannah, Bordentown, from 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Take advantage of a free mini medical, a physician's check on your blood pressure, your A1C, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your healthy weight evaluation, and more. The 11th Annual Rotary Central Health Check in conjunction with the Health Services Authority. Saturday, March 4. Save this date that could save your life. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
JN Money, money touchdown. Send the money now, reach wow. You say you need some money, JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
They say you only live once. I say you only die once, but you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance.
Grand Cayman, the concert you've been waiting for is almost here.
Yeah, man, this is Graham Smart. And
the hottest pre-Valentine's ticket in town, Cayman Airways. The Ministry of Tourism, Palmyra Development, and Tortuga presents three-time Grammy Award winner, Gramps Morgan. Gramps Morgan.
What I'm feeling.
Gramps Morgan.
If you give a little more than you take.
Gramps Morgan from the legendary band Morgan Heritage in a special up-close acoustic event. Also featuring James Geary, Terry Williams, D. Doctor, and more. Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center. This is an outdoor event under the stars. Tickets are $45 pre-sold. VIP tables available. Get online at CaymanEvents.co or at Mango Tree. Part of the proceeds to Meals on Wheels. Gramps Morgan in concert. Brought to you by Cayman Airways, the Ministry of Tourism, Tortuga's Coca-Cola, Stoli, Florida Kanye, Jagermeister, Palmyra Development, the Mango Tree, Radio Cayman, CaymanEvents.co, and Loud Production. Gramps Morgan. Yeah! Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center at 8 p.m.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller on hold. Let's go straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. OC.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, George Evans here. Beautiful Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And just a little traffic, of course, hands-free. Okay. Just want to talk about a few things, but actually driving. We have unfortunately, we have people who get their license, but all they know how to do is to drive their car in a straight line between the two lanes. If they encounter any emergency or any crisis while they're driving, they don't know how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they have no courtesy because all they know how to press the foot on the gas and on the brake. But in terms of doing anything special in terms of defensive driving, they can, if they encounter that, that's why you have these fender benders. I've seen some people who all they know how to do is just drive in a straight line. And you watch them, and that's all they do. But a few nights ago, I was going home around 6:30, and I decided to go through by the Savannah post office because I wanted to check the mail. And there was a big truck coming down. One of those dump trucks, I call them. But they're not. And yes, it was 6:30. There wasn't bumper-to-bumper traffic, of course, but the road was quite clear. But this truck was making at least 60 miles an hour, right? And yes, the roads were clear, but the question, nobody seems to have no conscience. If something had happened that he got in an accident at that speed, unnecessarily, a lot of people would have died.
Mm-hmm.
Just nobody seems to have any courtesy, any road manners, any thought about keeping within the speed limit. We sort of adopting a culture here that really is sort of alien to us, and really I don't know. I don't know. At times we just too passive. We don't speak up about retaining our culture and our way of life. We let other people come and subsume us and take us over. Now, the main reason I was calling OC, I went with a friend a few days ago to look at an apartment that they were looking for to rent. I wouldn't put a dog in that place, but they were charging $900 a month. And no internet, you have to provide that yourself and all kind of stuff. I've seen instances where you actually rent a room in somebody's place, and they have other rooms that they rent, but they charge, they have internet for the household, but then they add on $50 a month to your rent to pay the internet. Now, the internet is only $100 a month in total, so the landlord is getting you to pay for his internet.
Okay, but
there's some unfairness going on around here with prices that government needs to set up a full consumer council.
Before you go, and I'm glad you touched on that because I wanted to congratulate you on being appointed as the chairperson of the Consumer Council. Now, since we're on the conversation, I only have 2 minutes, to give you. Is this an area that your Consumer Council will have the ability to address issues like this?
Right. Well, right now, we're only regulating the entities which fall under off-reg.
Off-reg, okay.
And which is utilities, gas and water.
Okay.
But my hope is, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the councils, I'm speaking as George Ebanks,
yes.
But my hope is that in time, because we intend to get out into the community and have town hall meetings to hear from the public as to their complaints in regards to services that they're getting from service providers, and we intend to take action to address those complaints. We have an incident which we have under review in Little Cayman now, where 95 people out of a population of 150 came out to a meeting in January. Someone went up from off-reg to Little Cayman. 96 or 7% of the population came out complaining about cable and wireless or flow substandard service, which has been persistent
Got about 30 seconds. About 30 seconds left. Sorry, we have to go to news.
I can hold on and come back after.
Well, then you can call back. I'm going to have a guest in the studio. Someone from the opposition should be in at 8:15, but I'm sure that they will be taking calls as well. So we welcome you to call back at that point in time, which is after the 8 o'clock news, which will end probably around about 8:15. Okay? Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Just to say,
Quickly.
My view is that we can encourage government to expand that consumer council to be all encompassing and address all issues, including rent and food prices.
Got you.
and stuff which is out of hand.
Got you. Thank you very much for that. Folks, very quickly I want to say, don't know if all of you, those basketball fans out there, LeBron James broke Lou Alcindor's record. Now I'm going to say Lou Alcindor, just for those of you who may not know that Kareem Abdul, before he converted over to his Muslim name, was Lou Alcindor, who attended Power Memorial High School in New York, and LeBron James broke his scoring record last night. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is 8 o'clock.
At Priced Right, spending less on everyday products is easy.
Spend less on office supplies, tools, and automotive products.
Spend less on groceries, fresh produce, and meat.
Spend less on electronics, TVs, and speakers.
Spend less on home furnishings, beauty products, and apparel.
At Priced Right, we believe you can live better for less.
To Sports Center in Georgetown or at Republic's Plaza in West Bay.
For more info, visit pricedright.ky. Live better for less at Priced Right.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The first of two public meetings to discuss the draft terms of reference for the environmental impact assessment on two sections of the East-West Arterial took place in Northside Tuesday night. Planning Minister, the Honourable J.E. Banks.
Well, I think tonight's meeting went very well. We had a lot of people come out and voice their opinions on everything that was happening and what they want to see. I really think for the first meeting, it was really good. You know, it didn't get out of control. Everybody respected each other with their views and opinions. And I think we took a lot of notes to take back. And I'm hoping for the next to get together with the team and the people who are doing the EIA study to basically get everything going and make sure that we've heard all the concerns from the people and get this EIA started.
The proposed project involves the construction of an approximately 10-mile, 160-foot-wide multi-lane highway from Woodland Drive in Boddentown to Frank Sound Road in Northside, creating a, quote, highly disaster-resilient central highway. It will serve as an emergency route when coastal roads are compromised, reduce travel times between Georgetown and East End, Northside, and Boddentown, and promote public transportation with dedicated bus lines. The Boddentown meeting is scheduled for Thursday night at the Cayman Islands Baptist Church on Pedro Castle Road. The Department of Environmental Health gives notice of an upcoming office and landfill closure. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has the details.
The Department of Environmental Health's main office at CIEC and the Georgetown landfill will close during the morning of Thursday, February 9th, 2023, to facilitate a staff meeting. Garbage collection schedule for this day will not be affected. Any disposal of large amounts of waste on this day should be done before 8 a.m. The 24-hour drop-off area will remain open to facilitate the disposal of small residential loads. The DEH office and the Georgetown landfill will reopen for normal business on Thursday, February 9th, 2023 at 1 p.m. For more information, contact DEH's main office at 949-6696. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
And in other news, students at Cayman International School and Cayman Prep popped into the first of 3 live streams this week, featuring the annual grouper moon spawning in Little Cayman.
If you guys have questions during the live stream, you can raise your hand, or you can let your teacher know and they can pop it in the chat, and then I can call on you guys.
Don't worry if you missed yesterday's stream. There's still one more taking place today at 11 a.m. To watch it, you can log on to youtube.com/WeSpeakFishReef to catch it live. Since 2002, Reef and the Cayman Islands Department of Environment have fielded research teams each winter to monitor and study the Nassau grouper spawning aggregations in the Cayman Islands. While efforts are primarily focused on Little Cayman, work is also being done at the aggregations on Cayman Brac and Grand Cayman. The project has grown in scope to include an acoustic tagging research project, soundscape research, juvenile habitat and genetic studies, oceanographic research, and others. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has travelled to the area worst hit by Monday's earthquakes. He acknowledged that there have been problems with the initial response to the disaster, but he blamed the delays on damaged roads and airports. The Turkish opposition has accused the government of an uncoordinated response and of not making proper use of the Turkish military. More than 11,000 people are now known to have died in eastern Turkey and northern Syria, as rescue workers from numerous countries help with operations to extract survivors from the rubble. The President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, is making a surprise visit to Britain for only his second trip abroad since the Russian invasion of his country almost a year ago. Is he expected to meet King Charles and have talks with the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, as well as address the British Parliament? In his annual State of the Union address, President Biden reiterated that the US would stand with Ukraine for as long as it took. On domestic issues, he reaffirmed his support for a ban on assault weapons, protection for abortion rights, and police reforms. The UN peacekeeping force in eastern Congo says an investigation will be carried out with officials from the Kinshasa government following the deaths of 3 demonstrators. Protesters had attacked a UN convoy, setting fire to trucks and looting equipment. And those are the latest stories from BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. When we can't find the words to express ourselves, the right greeting card does just that for us. This Valentine's Day, greet people with love through our wide selection of Hallmark cards and more at ValueMed Pharmacy. More than a pharmacy, ValueMed has thoughtful gift ideas to help celebrate the love you share with family, friends, and heartstrings. From designer perfumes and colognes, bath spa sets and grooming kits, to chocolates and specially curated Valentine's gift baskets, ValueMed Pharmacy has gift ideas and greeting cards to help connect and share with your loved ones, with free gift wrapping offered for any in-store purchases. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and Boddentown.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store, or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot for the Red Dot Sale, only at Reflections. Red Friday is one day only. This Friday, February 10th, nearly everything must go. Clearance sale on men's and women's shoes. Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, Dockers, and more. Limited styles available. Get yours before they're gone. Spot the Red Dot on any tagged item and receive up to 50% off. Ladies, save up to 50% off on clothing. Just in time to find your perfect Valentine's outfit or Valentine's gift with lingerie and personal massages at 10% off. Save on dresses, blouses, pants, and find even greater savings in our clearance baskets. Men, Spot the red dot on any tagged item and receive up to 50% off on brands like US Polo, Dockers, and 20% off on all gym apparel. Levi jeans starting at $34. There is something for everyone at Red Friday at Reflections, one day only this Friday, February 10th. Reflections Clothing Store located on Shedden Road beside the Mango Tree across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 9 p.m.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course, Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 74 degrees. Relative humidity is 92%. The barometric pressure, 30.03 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 74 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate to fresh winds expected for the next 24 hours as the pressure gradient tightens over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show scattered showers over the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of morning and afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Winds will be easterly 15 to 20 knots and seas will be rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet. Small craft warning is in effect for today. Forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late night showers, and temperatures will fall to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be easterly 10 to 15 knots with higher gust, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft should exercise caution over open water for tonight. High tide will be this morning at 10:58, low tide this evening at 5:20, and a high tide again tonight at 11:19. The sun will set this evening at 6:21 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:57. And the outlook is calling for moderate winds and seas through Thursday morning as a high-pressure system moves east over the western Atlantic Ocean. That's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Developing winning habits is a blueprint for living a better life.
As Stephen Covey said in his best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny.
Change your thinking, change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway.
Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at how your traffic is looking this morning. I know you're frustrated coming from the east as traffic is heavy coming off of Rex Creighton Boulevard and also on Shamrock Road and on the Linford Pearson Highway. So traffic is backed up. Also on Crew Road, traffic busy heading to Georgetown. Heading east and Crew Road, traffic is moving on moderately. Busy traffic coming off of the Bobby Thompson Way, and as we look to Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Dixon Way, traffic is moderate in both directions. Owen Roberts Drive, light to moderate traffic flow as well as coming from the West Bay four-way stop. As we look to the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, heading to Georgetown, traffic steady but flowing. If you see any accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman at 949-6990. Steady traffic coming off of Esteli Tibbetts Highway and continuing on to North Sound Road. And on Industrial Park area, traffic is flowing moderately in both directions. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway. It's pretty tasty. Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Grand Cayman's biggest one-day family fun day is back! The 54th Annual Agricultural Show at the Stacey Watler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley. Ash Wednesday, February 22nd. Raffle tickets are on sale now, and for only $25, you can win $20,000 and so many other prizes. Raffle tickets include general admission to the show. For more information, visit them on Facebook or CaymanAgriculture.com.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Mr. Hugh, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and thank you for having me on. And good morning to those of you tuning in with us on Radio Cayman or on YouTube, possibly. Be careful out there on the way in. The roads are wet. After a couple of hot days, the oil will be on top of the road. So put a little extra distance person and take your time coming in, folks.
Yep, that's a part of the defensive driving strategy as well, keeping that distance between
keeping that distance, absolutely. And it's just crazy how the oil just comes out of that road and gets with the water, and we all know what happens when you mix oil and water, and the water just elevates the oil, and you'll hydroplane or slide very easily on the roads. And your braking won't be as effective either. So yeah, it's just take your time, folks. It's a couple of minutes later coming in versus hours because you got in an accident. It's not worth it. Just take your time.
Yep. Okay, so it's been quite a while since we last had you in there, all the holidays and everything.
It has been, yes. It's been a while. We had a lot of holidays in between. We've been out in the community visiting with folks and lots of activities happening. So yeah, it's been a while since we've been in, and hopefully now we can get on a regular schedule, OC, and come in at least a few times a month, and perhaps maybe even start bringing some additional guests with us, and
That would be great,
and get some conversation going. There seems to be a lot to talk about these days.
No shortage of things.
Even though perhaps maybe the ones that should be talking about it aren't talking about it, but which unfortunately leaves the general public to speculate and to draw their own conclusions, which is sometimes, as even as an opposition, you may be tempted to enjoy the comments made by persons about the government, but it's never healthy for the wrong information to be going out there and for persons to have to draw their own conclusions. Once that happens, OC, it's very difficult to pull that back in. And we know how damaging misinformation can be. And you already have social media outlets and those out there that are putting their own spin on things, or perhaps pushing and promoting misinformation. And so whilst, you may be tempted as an opposition member to say, wow, these guys are really beating up the government, or what is the government doing and promoting that, it's also, we have the responsibility, whether we're in government or opposition, for the safety and the good of our country. And so you get concerned when you see these things happening, and you're concerned about what the outcomes could be.
And there are some instances when the criticism may be either directly or indirectly pointed at you as a member of the opposition as well, because you are also a member of Parliament and you have some say in terms of the passage of legislation, as well. So,
and that is an interesting thing, because that is one of the difficulties, OC, that we struggle with in opposition at the moment. We are learning things on social media, on podcasts, and perhaps even in the daily press, just like the rest of the public is. And we are not meeting as often as we would like to meet in Parliament. And when we do meet, quite often we're not given enough time to prepare properly. Usually it's either the minimum amount of notice, or sometimes they will actually amend standing orders to meet earlier. So it has been very difficult for us to play our role as an opposition, an effective role as an opposition, to be a part of the discussions and the debate and the development of laws and policies, as we should be. Point taken, point in order, is this recent changes to regulations on the Species Act that has caused such an uproar. And I was saying to you earlier, this is one of the few things that it has drawn an outcry from across all demographics. I mean, everywhere I go, from the top of central of Georgetown, where my constituency starts, to the Ritz-Carlton on West Bay Road, the outcry has been the same, the concern has been the same. And people have, as you said, contacted me and said, what are you guys doing? And I have to respond and say, hey, remember, I'm not a member of the government, and this did not come to Parliament. This was, I think I looked at it, was passed in Cabinet in November of last year and became effective recently. And I said, so we were unaware of this as well. And, we did not have an opportunity to discuss this. We did not have an opportunity to debate this. This was done, almost secretly done in Cabinet, and then just released without any warning.
So made in Cabinet on the 25th of October 2022.
October, there you go. And so they've had more than enough time to have proper public consultation. And this, not even the agencies that play such a critical role in the welfare of animals did they consult in this. We all saw the letter which was published by the Humane Society and other groups. It just baffles me that they went ahead with this without even discussing it with them. And, there are so many programs, OC, that the government could have possibly focused on before taking this this drastic route, this draconian fines and threats to the general public out there, because they're trying to, because they have a soft heart and they love animals and they're trying to do their part in the care of these animals. They speak. I think there's one in the Compass today over in the Brack that have been doing a tremendous job, only with a small subsidy from the Humane Society to spay and neuter the feral cats, or sometimes they're not quite feral. They're friendly with the people that feed them around their homes and stuff. But with the absence of a full-time veterinarian in Kimmanbrack, and in the over the years since the Department of Agriculture have stopped doing spay and neutering, it has become more and more difficult for persons to find, and certainly in today's economic conditions, to find the monies to take if they have the ability, to take their cat or their dog in to be spayed or neutered. These are the programs that the government could have focused on first and foremost, because if you reduce the reproduction of these animals, then they won't have the issue of the overpopulation, right, and perhaps the competition for food, therefore going after some of the indigenous species on island. So I think they had a lot of, had they done proper public consultation, they would have realized that there are many groups. I know Mrs. Bodden, who spends a lot of her personal time until the wee hours of the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, trapping cats and taking them out of her own pocket to private veterinarians to have them spayed and neutered, and then they put a little V notch in the air so that they know that they have been spayed and neutered.
Okay.
And she came and did that in my neighborhood. I allowed her to trap them in my backyard, in my yard, and those animals are still around. They look so much healthier. Their color, everything about them is so much healthier, and they're still in my neighborhood, but they're unable to reproduce. So we have not seen, the same two have been there now for years, and they have not reproduced, so we have not seen an increase in feral cats in the area, and 1 or 2 of the neighbors feed them. So that program works. But if the government had taken the time to do proper consultation, they would have learned about these programs, and perhaps the Department of Environment could have worked with these individuals in conjunction with the culling that they did, and moved towards a much more amicable way of resolving this by the way of reducing the reproduction of these animals.
Okay, and it seems as if, of course, this all came to the fore with the situation in Caymanbrack, and as a result, like you said before, it is very, very difficult now to put the genie back in the bottle once it has come out, or put the toothpaste back in the tube,
or bring or close the gate on the horse,
right? Once it is out. But how can, if you were part of the government, and it had reached this stage, how would you go about taking the corrective measures to get this right back on track?
Well, first of all, I think that the way that this was done, it looks as if they almost decided this is going to be unpopular, so let's quietly release this into the public domain, because they anticipated the kind of backlash. So what I would have done differently, if there was a need for this, would be to proper consult with stakeholders,
Mm-hmm.
and then B, start a campaign, a educational campaign on the reasons why this is necessary and what are the ramifications for those who have concerns for these animals, and how can we mitigate that, which they're doing now. They're actually what people are considering as backpedaling and saying, if they're in your own property, you can feed them, and no one's going to arrest you, and all these sorts of things. But all of that should have been done beforehand. I think right now, because the matter is so muddied, I believe they're going to have to suspend this. They're going to have to pull back on this regulation, and go out there and meet with the stakeholders. I see that in today's Compass, the lady in the Brack that was spearheading the initiative to spay and neuter has now been given permission to continue that program. Because if she had continued, the law, the regulation stated that if she released the cat back into the wild, she could be charged under this law. So they must have given her special permission to go back to that program. But I do believe they need to just pull that back, meet with all of the stakeholders, look at other alternatives first before this draconian and what I would consider unenforceable regulation that they've done. And this is coming on the heels of the same sort of approach they took to the Gambling Act. We've gone from 0 to 150, all at once, without any ability for transition, without any ability for stepping up. It's just gone full speed. And then you have to hit the brakes like we've done suddenly, and you end up in a select committee in the House. At least in that instance, there was an opportunity to debate it. In this instance, there was no opportunity to debate it. They just simply sort of did it under the cover of night and then released it. So, what would I do at this stage? You have to pull it back. You'd have to suspend it, pull it back, and then go out there and meet with the stakeholders. I mean, the amount of millions of dollars and volunteer hours that is provided by the organization like the Humane Society to the Cayman Islands and the welfare of the animals of the Cayman Islands. And OC, my past administration is as guilty as this administration in the lack of advancement on the Animal Welfare Act. So here we are, we've ignored the Animal Welfare Act, and then now we're passing laws that are preventing people from helping the animals, these particular animals in particular. So we failed in that as well. It was something that I never had the opportunity to represent the agricultural sector, but I was passionate. I held town hall meetings about the feral cats, feral dogs, and I tried my best to assist the ministry in advancing the Animal Welfare Act. It's a difficult one to do because you're trying to balance the science of it and the emotions of the animal activists at the same time. It is very difficult. I'm not saying it's easy to do, and I'm not blaming this government, but certainly perhaps these are some of the areas they should have looked at beforehand.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and you mentioned the word difficult, and sometimes how difficult it is to strike that balance. When we return, you have been in the administration before, you've been a minister before. Mm-hmm. I want you to talk about how difficult it would be to do what you've suggested in terms of pulling the legislation back. How difficult is it for a government?
But these are regulations.
The regulations. Yeah. For a government to say, listen, we got it wrong, or we took the wrong approach. Mm-hmm. How can that be done? And at the same time show that you are being responsible in terms of your actions. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
J&M Money touching down again. Now you can send your US dollars at any location on island, including the BRAC. It's easy. Just walk with your US dollars. No need to convert to CI. This is another convenient service available at J&M Money. They always find a way to make it easier and hassle-free. So remember, when you need to send your money and you only have US dollars, don't ever think of what to do. Just head straight to any J&M Money location and send your money the fast, convenient, and affordable J&M Money. J&M Money, touching down again. J&M Money, ranga to la friend.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my healthcare instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
At Kirk's Home Center,
in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Deputy Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. So before we went to the commercial break, I asked Mr. Hugh to address the whole issue of how difficult it is, or is it difficult for a government when they have enacted legislation, whether or not it's through Parliament or in this case, regulations done through cabinet, how difficult it is to admit, we got it wrong. The approach that we've taken with it, could be wrong. There are times when, for instance, you may have a court who decides that a piece of legislation is unconstitutional, and you have to go about then revising that piece of legislation to ensure that it meets the constitutional requirements and everything. But in this case, that is not the case. It is more the public's reaction to it and the public's their feeling that they were not consulted the way that they felt they should be in this venture.
Yeah, I think that's the crux of the matter, and this all came from the decision to cull the feral cats in Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. So there was a lot of public outroar and a lot of discussion back and forth between the DOE and the animal activists over that matter. Mm-hmm. That would have been the perfect time to sit down with them and say, okay, how do we move forward from here? How do we achieve? Because I don't think that the animal activists would like to see the extinction of an indigenous species either.
Right.
You may have some who are cat lovers that say, I don't care about any other animal. But across the board, animal activists are animal activists. Animal lovers are animal lovers. So at this stage now, and like you said, the good news is that they did this in cabinet and through regulations. They can suspend, they can pull it back. They could set a new date for the enactment of the regulations and then take this opportunity because they have had interaction. They've now received representation from the stakeholders to go back and speak with them, to explain and to say, this is what we have to achieve. It is very difficult. We talked about other things earlier where the science is telling you, hey, COVID was one. I mean, look at some of the criticisms we received as a government when we made initial decision to shut the borders and to go into lockdown. And then, it was the right decision. History tells us it was the right decision. But there was an outcry in the beginning as well. So it is very difficult to make those decisions, to balance science with practicality and emotions. Mm-hmm. And so it's not an easy task, but I think at this point, I mean, if OC, if you allow me, I'll just read for the listening public, I'll read the letter from the Cayman Islands Humane Society, who I said, for decades, have probably at this stage billions of dollars in the protection and care of animals, as well as volunteer hours by all sectors of the community. It says, the Honourable Premier Wayne Patton, Cayman Islands Government, read the National Conservation Alien Species Regulation 2022. Dear Mr. Panton, we write this open letter in respect to the National Conservation Alien Species Regulations 2022, the regulations. We maintain that these regulations are unnecessary, disproportionate, and represent a drastic regression for animal welfare law and policy in these islands. In this regard, the government will have noted the overwhelming negative public reaction to the regulations. It is extremely disappointing that neither we nor any of our fellow animal charities were consulted by the government in relation to the regulations. We were not afforded the opportunity to share our expertise in the issue at hand, nor provide constructive feedback as to the practical implications of the regulations. It is clear that, in failing to engage in a dialogue with us and other key stakeholders, important issues have not been considered. This has resulted in irrational regulations and a confused, inconsistent, and misleading narrative being propagated by the government in relation to these important animal welfare issues. Furthermore, the regulations represent a grossly disproportionate response to the perceived issues and provide for an equally disproportionate enforcement regime. The fact that the government has not only seen fit to criminalize the feeding of cats and chickens, but has deemed this to be an imprisonable offense is something of which this government should be deeply ashamed. The FAQs published by the National Conservation Council are an embarrassment and demonstrate that these regulations were ill-considered and rushed, the little thought to how they would play out in practice or be enforced. The Cayman Islands Humane Society implores the government to rethink its position in relation to key issues such as trap, neuter release, and the criminalization of the feeding of cats and chickens. By mandating its citizens, residents, and visitors to engage in willful neglect, thereby causing cruel and unnecessary suffering, the government has relegated Cayman's animal welfare regime far behind those of other developed countries. The current state of affairs is plainly untenable. Failure to remedy the defects in the regulations will likely result in far greater suffering for the animals of these islands, including those the government purportedly seek to protect. In the circumstances, we invite the government to repeal the regulations forthwith and proceed to carry out a proper consultation process with all relevant stakeholders, including the public it serves. We look forward to your prompt response and proposals for commencing a constructive dialogue in relation to the concerns raised, so that collectively we may work towards identifying a way forward which properly and proportionately serves the welfare needs of the animals of these islands. Yours faithfully, Cayman Islands Humane Society. So there's an invitation, OC, right there from one of the main animal welfare activists, organizations, saying that we are willing to sit down and discuss this. Claw this back. Let us talk about it. Let us find a solution that works for all. And perhaps that was the government's strategy. Mm-hmm. But if that was the strategy, it has worked. They have everybody's attention now.
Yes.
Across the 3 islands. And I think they only have one way to go, and that is to suspend this and go back to the drawing board and speak with the stakeholders and the country, as the letter so rightfully said.
Now, there were certain dates that some of these things were due to come into effect as well. You recall those offhand?
No, I think it's May. I can't remember if it's the end of May, OC, that persons... and interestingly, reading the act, persons that own species such as macaws and parakeets and other fowls will have to register these animals. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they could either be fined, charged and fined, or the animals could be confiscated and exported or euthanized, I think is what I see here in the transitional provisions, regulation 4, and we'd have to go back and see what that is, shall not apply for a period of 6 months after the day on which these regulations come into force to a person who, at the date on which these regulations come into force, owns or is in possession of prohibited species in captivity or cultivation. Does that have to do regulation 4? I wonder if that is to do with the registration? Right. So that is why I said May. So 6 months from November, then it seems like would put you in May.
Yeah. So Regulation 4 says, holding or keeping prohibited species in captivity. A person shall not hold or keep prohibited species in captivity unless that person holds a permit to do so issued by the Council in accordance with Section 20, subsection 1 of the Act. A person under paragraph 1 shall prohibit the breeding of prohibited species which are held or kept in captivity. And subsection 3, the Council may require a person who holds or keeps a prohibited species in captivity in accordance with this regulation to sterilize the prohibited species, as well. So we're looking at 6 months from hence, and I guess we would anticipate that there would be additional consultations, with the public in terms of how they go about doing that as well. And I believe before, for instance, the parrots. If you had a parrot in captivity, you had a period of time within which you had to register that parrot as well, and that seemed to have worked well. So they have a blueprint in terms of how to go about doing this.
Yeah, and they went out in the community and invited people, and they came and did health checks on the parrot, and then they banned their legs and registered them. There's that way. I just think the list is so exhausting, OC, that I don't know how they... So prohibited species actually include monk parakeet, Alexandrian parakeet, rose-ring parakeet, red-masked parakeet, olive-throated or Jamaican parakeet, brown-throated parakeet. It includes the red-shouldered macaw, the chestnut-fronted macaw, the yellow-collared macaw, the blue-winged macaw, the blue-headed macaw, the red-bellied macaw, all alien doves or other than domestic breeds, the shiny cowbird, all starlings, Muscovy duck, munias, peafowl and pheasants, jungle fowl or other than domestic chickens, all alien reptiles, all alien amphibians, agave snout weevil, giant African land snail. And then it goes into plants, and it's a Brazilian pepper, the giant sensitive tree, the Burma reed, the mesquite, the Java plum, the Samoan wax plant, the lion, and then lionfish, crown of Thomas, starfish, green mussel, brown mussel. Those are some Croatian. But I think with just things like a Java plum, I don't know how many people in Cayman have a Java plum plant or can identify it, but they would certainly need to have it registered. But for me, all of these parakeets and macaws that the pet stores have been selling over the years, I don't know how many there are in that. And to go out and have those all registered and licensed, it's going to be quite a bit of work. And I think those listening today are going to be surprised, as we've only been talking about cats and chickens, when they hear that exhaustive list of birds in particular, that people have enjoyed having as pets over the years.
Okay, and when we return, what we can do so that we ensure that balance is maintained as well. I think there's a section in there about exempted agricultural, domestic, and game mammals as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. I believe there's received message, text message about calling in, and certainly if you have any questions or comments, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Deputy Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joe Hugh, will continue, so please stay tuned.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Grand Cayman, the concert you've been waiting for is almost here.
Yeah, man, this is Graham Smart.
The hottest pre-Valentine's ticket in town, Cayman Airways. The Ministry of Tourism, Palmyra Development, and Tortuga presents three-time Grammy Award winner, Gramps Morgan. Gramps Morgan.
What I'm feeling.
Gramps Morgan.
If you give a little more than you take.
Gramps Morgan from the legendary band Morgan Heritage in a special up-close acoustic event. Also featuring James Geary, Terry Williams, D. Doctor, and more. Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center. This is an outdoor event under the stars. Tickets are $45 pre-sold. VIP tables available. Get online at CaymanEvents.co or at Mango Tree. Part of the proceeds to Meals on Wheels. Gramps Morgan in concert. Brought to you by Cayman Airways, the Ministry of Tourism, Tortuga's Coca-Cola, Stoli, Florida Kanye, Jägermeister, Palmyra Development, the Mango Tree, Radio Cayman, CaymanEvents.co, and Loud Production. Gramps Morgan. Yeah. Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center at 8 p.m.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your mailing address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Remember, non-receipt of a bill does not constitute a release from liability for payment. Visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, to download and fill out our customer information update form. Or you can contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or call 949-2837.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Mr. Hugh, back over to you. So we wanted to also mention the species, the exempted agricultural, domestic, and game mammals as well. But we do have 3 callers, so let's grab the callers, see how many we can entertain before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock, which is about 8 minutes away. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Hugh.
Good morning.
Mr. Hugh, were you in charge of roads when you was in the other seat?
Roads? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Well, just a couple of days ago, I was driving, and I said, I wonder what is going on. Are they spiking the past government for Eastern Avenue and Westby Road and Walker's Road? We are properly driving on gravel, and when you're driving, it feels like you got 4 flat tires. And here we are with so many other new roads being built and being capped here and there, and Eastern Avenue, Godfrey Nixon Way. It is ridiculous, and the 7-mile stretch and Walker's Road. But I didn't call to talk about the roads this morning, but I just want to put that out there. And I appreciate you when you all can see all the mistakes down the line when you are all sitting in the back. Because sometimes when you're up front, you can't see everything. And they do call and criticize, why didn't you all do it at that point in time? But sometimes things are being seen from a different point of view at some point in time. So I applaud you guys for seeing what went wrong here and there, what truckers did better, because no man is perfect. No one is perfect. So I just hope that we just put down the matter of you all and you government, and they get these roads fixed. That's what I want to say this morning. Mr. Hugh, I don't know if I should say this on the radio, but I want to say that if you can help me, or what would be your opinion? I'm a taxi driver. I've been there for many years now, and I did all of the paperwork they wanted me to do just a couple of months ago, and they also say we have to have a trading license before we can get a taxi. I don't know why they got to have a business and trade license just for being a regular taxi driver, but I don't know. I applied for it, and they called me just yesterday, day before yesterday, told me that my ID is ready. So I go to pick up my ID, and then they came down to inspect my car. Oh, you don't have the banner in the front, and you don't have the banner in the back, and we can't pass your vehicle, and we can't give you your ID. I'm like, excuse me? You can't give me my ID that I went in hot blood to work for to make $500 US to come and pay up all of these things for $400 change to get my ID to be updated with public transport and wherever I may go to work. And you tell me you can't give me my ID until I go and put these two banners on my vehicle and check out the banner prices, which I'm doing $200 each for a banner, one for the front, one for the back. So I told them, I said, tell you what, you all keep the ID, but I'm going to work. You're going to have a warm time chasing from hotel to hotel, and you can send the police too. And I will tell them, I have a license, but it's a public transport. Go and tell them to give me my license. I paid for that. That's not hand up to me. I worked to pay that for that ID. You know, some time ago, Mr. Banks came and said, no stickers of any kind to be on your van. No advertisement, no whatsoever. No, all public buses, I don't know what they look like. You know what the taxi drivers do the same thing too? I don't know why we have to have so much information on our buses, our taxis, to say that we're a taxi driver. Why we got so much identification on our buses? I don't understand. I don't understand what they're trying to do to us serious Canadians. They're back in the wrong tree. They're going to lock me up. They will have to lock me up, Mr. Hugh, because I know they're going to start working. And anyway, so anytime they come and run me from one hotel, I'm going to the next. So by the time they get to run me from hotel to hotel, they're going to have to give me my ID. Because there's nothing in the law say I have to have this banner on my vehicle. Mr. Moses, who called on me at the glass house a couple of years ago, a bunch of us taxi drivers, and he stopped it for 6 months until he was discussing public transport. He did not get back into the position, so it went haywire again. This public transport is making everybody put this banner on the car. I ain't putting it on my car. I just had to come out of taxi. Because I am not looking like the rest of the unprofessional and the higglers and so forth and here. Because I'm not in the category. I'm here to do a service, and I'm going to do professional. And having all these stickers don't make me professional. It is my behavior and my attitude and my customer service and how I treat my customers. That is what counts in this taxi business. These banners and all these IDs, all they set me up for you, and somebody come and rob you. You can tell where the taxi drivers live, left, right, and center on this island now. So I just wanted to say that this morning, sir. I know you probably can't do anything, but I just want to get it back out there in here. That public transport got my ID holding that I paid over $500 for US, and I cannot receive it because I don't have these two banners on my vehicle.
And caller, if we may, those stickers or those banners, are they provided by public transport?
No, you got to go to somebody and purchase them, and it's $200 and change for one side, and you got to get two, one in the front, one in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The public buses has them saying public bus, whatever. You want the taxi drivers put up there now, taxi number 1224 or 1213, whatever you are. We shouldn't have to give up so much information of our numbers on our vehicles. We got a taxi, taxi. That is sufficient. Why are we being so identified on the road when we only work in the hotels?
And inside the taxi, is there a way of the passenger being able to identify you as a driver? You have to have that ID card inside.
You have a big ID card that's in your van.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have you consulted anyone in terms of the legality of what they're doing? I heard you yesterday speaking with Sterling, and you were questioning, what gives them the legal right to do that. Have you been able to determine that?
No, I was hoping that Mr. Mansfield could ask a question this morning, Mr. Tiger, but I have no one to really ask the question of that right now, Mr. OC. I don't know who to go to, who to ask, because then.
But you could ask them. You could ask them to provide you with written. You could ask the transport people to provide you with something in writing or showing you where you are required to have that in order for you to get your license.
My guess would be that it's simply a condition that the board has decided to put on your license, because that is a department and there's no public transport law. It sits as a part of the traffic law. So my guess would be that is something that the board decided or was convinced to put as a condition on your license. So it has been a difficult battle there, and in particular, I never did understand why they insisted on you guys having a trade and business license when you are already licensed under the traffic law. You have your driver's license, you have your public transport license, you've done your pride test. I didn't understand that. We had an issue when I did the grants for during the COVID lockdown, and the question was the way the cabinet, the way we wrote the paper to provide funding for these grants, where we use that persons had to have a license over a year, and that created an issue whether they could give persons with a public transport license a grant, because it was the definition was interpreted as a trade and business license.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
But that was no reason to now force persons to go and get a trade and business license to operate a sole taxi. You can't own 5 taxis. Taxis are owner operated by Caymanians only, and you're licensed under the public transport law. I never did see or understand the reasoning under the traffic law for public transport. I never did see or understand the reasoning for having a trade and business license as well.
Okay. Well, we want to thank that caller for that. We have to go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joe Hugh, will continue, so please stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
School inspectors say the overall performance at Truth for Youth School was weak, as in the previous inspection and the follow-through inspection. The report says school leadership is weak, as is self-evaluation and improvement planning. You can find the full report online at oes.gov.ky. U.S. President Joe Biden called on Republicans to help finish the job of delivering for hardworking families in his annual State of the Union address. The Democrat stressed the importance of finding consensus as he addressed the divided Congress, where the lower chamber now has a Republican majority. But a series of interruptions and heckles showed the uphill task it will be to find cooperation. In their speech, Republicans accused the president of, quote, woke fantasies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting Rishi Sunak after arriving for his first UK visit since Russia's invasion. He's holding talks with the British Prime Minister in Downing Street ahead of an audience with King Charles and a speech to Parliament. It comes as UK training of Ukrainian forces is set to be expanded to cover fighter jet pilots and Marines. The UK has also announced a fresh round of sanctions targeting Russia. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The Headline News are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of cash, check, and online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We are going straight to the phone line. We still have several calls queued up, so we want to remind everyone to try to be as economic with the time that you have as possible. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Elsie. Am I on?
Hey, good morning. Yes, you are.
Well, good morning to you and to Honorable Hugh. Now, I called really to talk about briefly about the need for reform in the judiciary, but let me just address in two sentences two issues that Honorable Hugh addressed. He spoke about the way in which Parliament meets and how sometimes you don't know even when you are going to meet and how that impacts negatively, like the time for studying legislation. I think he's so right about that, because in other advanced parliaments, which Cayman should aspire to be, and in a sense already is advanced, they draw up a program the preceding year, the end of the preceding parliamentary year. They draw a program which says exactly the days they are going to sit and how long they are going to sit on those days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you do that, I think the advantages are quite clear, and I need not elaborate them. Secondly, about the penalties, gambling and so forth. I just wish really sometimes we could learn from previous experience. There is this assumption that is made often, that if you increase the penalties and they are draconian, people will stop doing things. No, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes, yes, you have to increase penalties, but if you proceed on that assumption, you make the same mistake that was made with the firearms. They thought at the time that people would stop importing and using firearms illegally if they make the penalties draconian. But what happened? You are sending your young men and young women to jail for 7 to 10 years, mostly Caymanian, because the expatriates, not so much the expatriates, the tourists are not going to jail. One of them who skipped bail actually ended up only paying like $45,000 in penalties, never even went to jail. You end up mass incarcerating like your own people. But the main point I called, I should do this in about 1 minute.
Okay.
There's need for reform in the judiciary in many aspects, but the one I want to address today briefly is the one relating to complaints against judges. Right now, I've got a big battle going on with the judiciary. I asked them to give me how many judges were complained against, how many were investigated fully, what the nature of the complaint was, and the result was. They initially refused to do that, but when I appealed it, the reviewing officer, great credit to her, the court's administrator, she said, well, they have to give you this information. She got independent legal advice, and she said they have to give you this information. But 9 weeks now, they haven't given me this information. And what they are saying now is, well, we can't give you this information because we never created it. We never created the statistics. And my answer was, well, if you never created the statistics, give me the actual complaints, but redact them. And on top of that, how much compilation does it take? Okay? Because usually you get about 2 or 3 complaints a year. From 2016 up to now, you probably will have about 15 complaints. What is the reason? But the reason, in closing, the reason they don't want to give me those statistics is because Chief Justice Smelly habitually ignored complaints, and complaints were never dealt with. And no rules up to now have ever been set down as to how to deal with the complaints. So all I'm saying is I'm trying to find out whether Mr. Hugh can comment on this, because in my view, this is not judicial independence, it is judicial unaccountability. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Billy, you want to respond now? Or
no,
yeah,
I certainly will agree with that, you know, if in fact these records were not kept previously, then you know, to advance the judicial regime, they should start keeping those. And perhaps retroactively go back the last couple of years and have a look at it, because that sort of information can be very useful, and everyone has to be held accountable. We're all human. Yes, everyone makes mistakes, and everybody's corruptible. So everyone should be, from the very top to the bottom, should be held accountable. So I agree with him there, and also on the idea of the deterrent sentencing and the deterrent fee, the draconian things. He cited the sentencing for possession of firearms, and I'd go further and look at like the fees and sentencing for gambling or for lottery is about the same, I think, up to $4,000 or 3 years in prison as that of simple possession of marijuana, small amounts of marijuana. And that is also a criminal act. Both are criminal acts. Now we're actually seeing where over the years, as they increase the charges and the penalties for simple possession has not been effective. Now they're talking about decriminalizing it, and I would suppose that when you decriminalize, you would put some sort of tiered system in there that persons would then be forced to get help for the addiction if we're going to continue to make it illegal. The same thing should be done for numbers. There's no way, policemen are now saying, I'm not going to arrest a young man, young woman, or an older person, whomever, for a small amount of marijuana and ruin their life. If it's a habitual prison criminal, they might. But to take a young person that decided to try it or whatever and put them in the court system, they then have a criminal record that they can't go off to university, etc. The same thing will happen with numbers, and police will start to become reluctant to arrest people and ruin their lives for it. There has to be another approach. So anyway, I agree with him on those two things.
Okay, we have several callers, 5 callers. Wow, wow. Let's try to get through them.
Should I just, the first caller, actually I wanted to spend some time on that, but she is right. We spoke about the decals on her taxi, and the advice as given by yourself, and I agree, is for her to go ask and to be shown where this is in the law, or where the requirements are for her to have that, to get her taxi license, or to get her ID. The second one, she spoke about the roads. She's absolutely right. The minister made a statement in November in the House and listed some 52 roads, totaling $1.8 million. It was a public statement, and not one, every constituency on the island had roadworks done. Some only 2, some up to 10, 12, 14 roads fixed. Not one single road in Georgetown North, Georgetown South, Georgetown West, Georgetown East, or Red Bay. Not a single road repaired in 19 months in the constituencies held by the opposition.
Okay. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hey, good morning, Ossie. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I am good this morning. Good morning there to Mr. Hugh.
Good morning.
I must applaud you this morning with your comments regarding the situation with the feral cats and feral fowls. I keep telling Ossie that one word I can put in my vocabulary for this year. I have never heard more rubbish in my life. The amount of things that this government can take care of, but they got put in place laws and regulations to put people in jail or fine people this outrageous amount of money for taking care or doing something that they love. I am applauding you this morning because you stood up for the same things that I had in my mind to say this morning. I didn't expect we'll see how a person on here this morning, but you came on just in the right time. My argument with this situation was from the beginning, why were there a public announcement for DOE to come out publicly and have meetings with people regarding this situation? That was my argument from the first day that I heard this rubbish taking place here on Kim Brock. We have problems here, and our problems are human. Our problems is not cat and fowls. We need a feral problem, and that feral problem is human. We don't have no problem with no cat. We don't have no problem with fowls. People take fowls in the yard. They take them. They be on the road. Yes, they be on the road. Most of the time they get killed. That is not a problem. if someone wants to throw some food out of the yard to feed these fowls, that should not be a problem. These things about this feral cat, and I challenge Mr. Barfield when he was on OC show to tell me where on Kim and Brock, especially here, do we have thousands of feral cats roaming our bush and roaming our streets and roaming around people's yards, destroying boobies and everything else. We do not have that problem. This morning, Minister, we have a problem with rats. And what caused the problem with the rats was years ago when the MRCU, between them and DEH, would set poison in people's premises without permission because they did it to me. And it was causing the when the rat eat the poison, the owl will come and eat the rat, and the owl would die. And then we turn around, we never had much owls in the sky, and the rats start to take over. And now that they have one or two cats roaming this island, they come up and say, oh, we have a problem because we live missing one or two boobies on the bluff. I gave my analysis some days ago regarding boobies and the boobies situation from time I was a boy. And it was not no cat on that bluff. The hawks in the presentation of people approaching the nest, whether it was me as a young boy getting eggs from those nests to go home to make egg punch for my father to make, that created an issue with the birds. The mothers was trying to protect their young, and we would go back 2 or 3 days after, and those birds would be found dead. There was no cats up there. We have a problem, Minister, this morning. Like I said, I applaud you for your standing up for this to let people know that there should be laws, but they got to be laws to protect the people, because we are becoming feral, not the cats in the clouds. So I applaud you this morning with your comments there regarding this, and yes, they should go back and rebounce this to find out what they can be done to get this straightened out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take a commercial break. We have 2 callers on hold. There's a particular topic that Mr. Hugh wants to cover as well. So after we have entertained these 2 callers, we're going to close the phone lines off. He has to leave for a meeting at about 9:45 as well. So, folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot for the Red Dot Sale only at Reflections. Red Friday is one day only. This Friday, February 10th, nearly everything must go. Clearance sale on men's and women's shoes. Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, Dockers, and more. Limited styles available. Get yours before they're gone. Spot the red dot on any tagged item and receive up to 50% off. Ladies, save up to 50% off on clothing. Just in time to find your perfect Valentine's outfit or Valentine's gift with lingerie and personal massages at 10% off. Save on dresses, blouses, pants, and find even greater savings in our clearance baskets. Men, spot the red dot on any tagged item and receive up to 50% off on brands like US Polo, Dockers, and 20% off on all gym apparel. Levi jeans starting at $34. There is something for everyone at Red Friday at Reflections, one day only. This Friday, February 10th, Reflections Clothing Store located on Cheddar Road beside the mango tree across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 9 p.m.
Pure Art Gallery and Gifts, meaningful tokens of love for Valentine's Day. Pure Art has also expanded their location. Local jewelry, paintings, prints, and more. Visit the newly expanded Pure Art Gallery and Gifts on South Church Street. Happy Valentine's from Pure Art.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines again. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Austin. Good morning, Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good, good.
I have to agree with the last caller, first off. But my call is about the taxi banners and stuff. To my understanding, it is a family member that owns the business of it that is on the board. And the board member is pushing it. That's number one. Number two, there's nothing in the laws or regulation that says that these banners have to be on the vehicles. So it's being pushed by the board member to have these banners put on the taxis where it's no law or anything, and they're saying, oh, we make it up as we go along.
Policy
can't hold up in court.
No.
So they're trying to force you, because their family member they're looking out for, because it's a business that they're running.
And that business, they're exclusive. They do it exclusively, or are there other businesses? They're the only ones on island.
From this person.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's interesting.
That's serious.
Well, Carl, I know that the minister likes listening to the talk shows, especially when opposition are on. So I'm sure that he's heard, and will certainly look into it. I would hope.
I hope he does, because it's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, I ran taxi part-time for years, and I can tell anyone that, yes, you can make money out of it, but look at the hours that you got to put in. It's not an easy job.
Okay.
Some days you go there and you don't make $1. So, for it to be, you would say, penalizing the driver, you can't get your ID or whatever because you not put the banner on your vehicle. That's wrong. And it needs to be looked into.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for that information, caller, as well. Let's grab the last caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning. Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning again, sir.
And good morning, Mr. Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Hugh.
Good morning, sir.
I just want to commend you for when you were in government and you were minister, for simplifying and making more efficient the Trade and Business Licensing Department. That legacy continues, because you've simplified it to make it easier for the small businessman to get his trade and business license. But I'm wondering, I called earlier, and you may have heard my comments about the abuse out in the public with regards to consumers and their rights regarding rents and different things. I'm wondering if you would comment whether in your time in government, whether your government looked at this issue in regards to consumer council, a fully fledged consumer council with adequate powers to control and to look after consumer abuse, and whether you would comment that if the PPM were to secure the next government, that the issue of consumer rights and an effective consumer council would be something that perhaps you would be willing to look at.
Okay. Yeah, I can answer that. We received a draft copy from the Legal Society. What are they?
Legal practice.
No. Gosh, I just had it 2 seconds ago while we were chatting and I lost it. But we did receive a draft copy of legislation on consumer protection.
Was it Law Review Commission?
Yes, the Law Review Commission. Thank you. On consumer protection, but again, I know it continues to sound like an excuse as we progress, as years go by, but we were then immediately faced with COVID, and our priorities switched into the towards the preservation of our people during the COVID and the shelter-in-place period, and then the reopening of the country. So, but we did, and yes, absolutely. I think any government that does not see the need, or that will not commit to reviewing or having a look at consumer protection in this country would be remiss. It's especially there certainly needs some legislation. Landlord and tenant legislation is needed because there are both sides of the coin. The police are caught in the middle. There's not so much they can do. I was just dealing with an issue on Saturday between landlord and tenants, and he said, she said, and the police are in the middle of it and can only kind of mediate. But also consumer protection, and I know that you are on a committee on the off-reg, but also in particular, a starting point would be certainly during times of emergencies, disasters such as oncoming hurricanes, etc. I did receive representation. Unfortunately, the person didn't keep their receipt from the first purchase, but the person cooks, does catering and bought a huge bottle of oil just before an oncoming hurricane last year, and then decided that because the hurricane was coming, he would go and stock up on that oil, and 2 days later went back and the price had almost doubled. So I certainly believe that even there the need is there for consumer protection, even if you just start with regulating and keeping an eye on pricing, price gouging before and during disasters, natural disasters or pandemics, as we now learn.
Yep. Thank you.
I want to say that in a government that puts in force an effective consumer council, all-encompassing, to look at those areas of emergency price gouging, but also price gouging in general, I think they'll be the most popular government that ever existed in the Cayman Islands, because consumers are far and wide are really up against total abuse, and no one is really able to speak and effectively represent them in this regard. So I have to thank you for your comments on that, and I look forward to one day seeing an effective consumer council in place in East Cayman Islands. Thank you both, and Mr. Leader, I wish you a very good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. We have been asked to let the public know that the Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, their 3 offices will be closed tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th of February. Those closures, the closure of those 3 offices are being done to facilitate and accommodate staff training. So, folks, if you have any business to conduct with the Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th of February, their offices will be closed tomorrow. So they're open today, closed tomorrow. They will be open again on Friday, I presume, but they will not be open tomorrow. All 3 offices. Those would be the office in Georgetown, which is located in the Crew Road area, office in Breakers, as well as the office in West Bay. I think those are the 3 offices, right, Mr. Hugh?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to take, it gives me enough time to read this other comment that we had from one of our listeners. It says here, "Good morning, gentlemen. It seems our national conversations have strayed so far from reality. It's so sad to see our elected officials lose this common touch. They have forgotten bread and butter issues like affordable health care, housing, public transportation, improvements in education, easing the traffic congestion, cost of living, pensions, beach access, a growth management plan, home insurance, health insurance, minimum wage, etc., etc. Instead, they seem fixated on less important issues that waste our time and resources, gambling, ganja, and chickens, as well. Please let us refocus on solving the major issues affecting our day-to-day lives. So I just wanted to share that with you before we go to the commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Grand Cayman, the concert you've been waiting for is almost here.
Yeah, man, this is Graham Smart.
The hottest pre-Valentine's ticket in town, Cayman Airways. The Ministry of Tourism, Palmyra Development, and Tortuga presents three-time Grammy Award winner, Gramps Morgan. Gramps Morgan.
What I'm feeling.
Gramps Morgan.
If you give a little more than you take.
Gramps Morgan from the legendary band Morgan Heritage in a special up-close acoustic event. Also featuring James Geary, Terry Williams, D. Doctor, and more. Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center. This is an outdoor event under the stars. Tickets are $45 pre-sold. VIP tables available. Get online at CaymanEvents.co or at Mango Tree. Part of the proceeds to Meals on Wheels. Gramps Morgan in concert. Brought to you by Cayman Airways, the Ministry of Tourism, Tortugas Coca-Cola, Stoli, Florida Kanye, Jägermeister, Palmyra Development, the Mango Tree, Radio Cayman, CaymanEvents.co, and Loud Production. Gramps Morgan. Yeah! Saturday, February 18th at Lions Community Center at 8 p.m.
Join us Friday, February 10th at the Harkwell Theater for the Valentine's edition of the Laughter Lounge Comedy Show, hosted by Corey Bell from Showtime's Monique and Friends, featuring comedians Mark Gregory and Mark Henderson. Come on down to the Harkwell Theater this Friday, February 10th for a belly full of laughter. Happy hour is at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8 p.m. sharp. For tickets or information, visit laughkman.com or call 326-4510. Sponsored by Heineken, Sky Vodka, and Executive Services.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament, Mr. Jerry Hugh. He's going to be leaving us at our next commercial break. So there are a few things that he wanted to cover, and we've closed the phone lines off to give him the ability to do that, even though he would love to entertain more calls. But he will be back next week.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, he'll be back. Following Wednesday, of course, is Ash Wednesday. So, unless we go live from the agriculture show. Over to you, Mr. Hugh.
Thank you, O.C. O.C., I just, of course, I am in the news last week. You would have seen, actually, there was a couple of news articles. One, I think, was in a Compass that they had shown that there was several fires over the last few months at the landfill, and then of course last week we saw where there was smoke. You could see it plainly from the road and from my neighborhood, smoke emitting from the landfill, and it was attended by the Cayman Islands Fire Service. And up until yesterday, we had a beautiful rain this morning. Didn't last long, maybe a minute or so, but it was very heavy, maybe 2 minutes. But up until yesterday, they were still pumping water from the canals over or from somewhere over the landfill, which they've been doing for quite a while now. And that water just simply leaches out and goes back into the canal. And they've cleaned out and opened up all of the culverts under the Tibbetts Highway. So, if, all around in the back of Marbell Drive and behind Parkway and those, you see the sludge in the canals. I can appreciate why they're doing it, understand why they're doing it. I guess that's a trade-off from not having a major fire outbreak, and everyone, it doesn't matter, anyone driving by will see how close that landfill is to the highway right now and to the residential areas surrounding it, and how huge it is, and it's growing rapidly. We still have not seen the compacting and the layering of the landfill like it should be done. And as I said the last time I was here, we understand that they're waiting on equipment. I would implore them to perhaps go out to private sector and see if there's any equipment that they can lease there to come in and do that, because we are now waiting, OC, on the financial close. The Premier, in missing his deadline in November, said that he has set a new deadline that was achievable for March 23rd of this year. If he meets that deadline, we're looking at about 4 years before the integrated solid waste management system is in place, or the waste to energy plant is in place. That landfill does not have 4 years left in it, especially under the conditions and the way that it is being managed at the moment. This is probably this along with the 7 Mile Beach are the two largest environmental disasters this country is facing right now. And I do not believe that the landfill, let's put regen one side, let's put the waste energy plant one side. I do not believe that the government is giving the landfill the attention that it is due. And I don't know where the breakdown is, whether it's the support from the ministry, whether it's the financial support from the ministry, or whether people just don't care. But it doesn't take, you don't need to be an expert in the field to drive by and see that it is being neglected and it is not being managed correctly. And as a representative for Georgetown North, where the landfill sits, it draws grave concern for me and for the residents from Courts Road to Watlers Road, Marbell Drive, Parkway, Whitehall, Jasmine, all the way down, and the tourism accommodation properties along that strip. It draws grave concern for us there that the attention isn't being paid to that landfill like it should. And this is not a criticism of government. This is an appeal, OC.
Okay.
This is literally an appeal by myself as a representative for Georgetown North for the government to please give the attention that's needed. Stop ignoring the current landfill and give it the attention it needs. Put we see money being spent all over the place. And I'll talk about that more on properties and projects that I don't think we will see come through in these next 4 years or 2 years left. But that disaster in waiting, sitting right there, that everybody in this country that drives by on the Esler Tibbetts Highway can see.
Mm-hmm. And what would the proper management of that facility entail?
As the Premier himself said in a statement last year, that I think he indicated that they were awaiting equipment that would come in the first quarter of this year to follow Florida standards, I think is what he said, would be to compact and layer the landfill every 24 to 48 hours. So as you tip on one part of the landfill and you move along, it should be compacted immediately with a compactor and then a layer of material put on top of that. So you're compressing the garbage, you're pushing out the gases, you're putting on material. I remember when the Wheelabrator group did a presentation to us, and the gases coming out of and the surprising low levels of gases coming out of Mount Trashmore, as we referred to it then. One of the reasons they indicated was because in the old days, with the quarry being right next door, we used to compact and layer with marl, limestone, which neutralizes a lot of the chemicals and the gases. And so it was a perfect, whilst we did not have a lined landfill, and perhaps not even by design, but perhaps by accident, but we treated it perfectly. And that is why that landfill lasted so many years. It wasn't until the latter years that we got away from, and maybe because of cost and budget, that we got away from compacting and layering, that we started to have the fires. We went back to that in 2014. Once we got all the equipment in place and everything, we went back to that. And I think now we're taking full circle around now where they don't have the equipment. I understand it's on order, or whether they don't have the budget, but we are not, you can just go out there and watch. It's not happening. It is tipping, as they call it. Trucks are dumping the garbage and a machine is pushing it off down the hill, and the hill is growing further and further towards the main road. Okay. So, I will not give up on talking about this. And as I said to you earlier, I am not playing politics. I'm not criticizing. I'm doing my job as a representative for Georgetown North and for the entire country. A major fire there will have ramifications across this country. The road will have to close, perhaps for an extended period of time. We know what the traffic is like already. So the ramifications of that will extend all the way down West Bay Road to everyone living in West Bay, everyone living along the strip trying to get to work. Ramifications will be on businesses not being able to deliver, not being able to move around. I just can't express how important and how imperative it is for the government to take immediate action on that landfill. And honestly, from my heart, I do not want to come here and say I told you so, because the trade-off, the impact it will have on the country, and in particular the people of Georgetown North, is way too grave to have that mindset that I want to come in here to say I told you so. So with that somber moment, and I'm sorry, but it's facing us there every day, and we're just not seeing the attention that's needed. Certainly, we're not hearing anything from anyone. I've not heard anything from the minister. I've not heard anything from Minister Turner on the landfill. She's not made any statements in the House regarding the landfill. She has not made any press statements. We have heard nothing from her about the landfill. We hear from the Premier occasionally, who I understand has responsibility for regen, but we have not heard anything from the minister on the landfill.
Okay. And in a way, the two issues are separate.
They are.
Because one is an ongoing situation as opposed to the other one, which is to take corrective action on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
The regen.
And in about 8 weeks, OC, it'll be 2 years. Stop blaming us. 2 years have gone by now. Stop blaming us. It's time. And do you need my help? I don't know. But let's do something about it.
Okay. Mr. Hugh, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for your commitment to be back on next week, Wednesday.
My pleasure.
Well, folks, we're going to take an early commercial break. We will open back up the phone lines when we return. I still need to share this information that we had about driver education in the Cayman Islands that I want to share with you as well. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
You know what I love to do with my family? Go fishing. I can put the bait on and cast and reel the line all by myself. My mommy and daddy say when they were little, there were plenty more fish to catch, but now there are lots more people fishing, so it's harder to find them. That's why we have marine parks now. They set some areas aside so the fish there can have babies and grow bigger. Then they swim out to other areas where I can catch them. Having the marine parks means there will still be fish there when I'm grown up and fishing with a family of my own.
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We have reopened the phone lines. If you want to call in, if you have any questions, comments, just bear in mind, we only have about 15 minutes left. So, speaking about driver education in the Cayman Islands and the need for it, and trying to determine what do we have in terms of driver education. We know that there are driving schools in the Cayman Islands. We know that for those that are designated as driving schools, that the instructors have to be licensed by the Department of Vehicle and Driver's License as well. In the schools, another question, and we know now that there were things, there was collaboration in the past with various entities. So one person shared with me that they were one of the instructors whilst they worked for the Department of Vehicle and Driver's License for driver education at the Clifton Hunter High School and the John Gray High School as well. Says that this program was a joint venture between the Department of Vehicle and Driver's License, Saxon, M&G, Prestige Motors, Vamp Motors, Seco, Hertz Rental, and the Department of Education. They point out that Ms. Hyatt ran the program for the school. Prestige Motors and Seco Hertz donated cars for the program. Saxon supplied insurance. Vamp serviced the vehicle free of charge, and also Prestige did the same. And it was good to get that information because we now know that there were initiatives out there that were started, and whether or not, based on the conversations that I have had and the feedback that I have received, it doesn't seem as if anything is in place now, and it is something that we need to put back in place. Bear in mind, right? Now, we know we don't hear as much for those students who go off to the UK for schooling. I think in most instances, public transport, if they're living outside and schooling outside of London, if they're going to come into London, they will take, the train or whatever. But in the United States of America, I would venture to say that many of our students who go to the U.S. also end up having, or some of them may have their own vehicles driving. Now, we know that when you teach an individual to drive, and family members or friends teach others to drive, they also teach them their bad driving habits as well as the good ones, hopefully the good ones as well. But they certainly will teach the bad habits because they're not trained driving instructors. So by having driver education in the schools, those persons who end up going off to university end up driving in new jurisdictions where they may not be accustomed to the driving there, where they have to drive on highways. You have to know how to handle vehicles on the highways. They will be driving in different weather conditions and stuff. What better training ground to have than to start the driver education in the schools so that they learn to drive the proper way, learn the concepts and defensive driving skills as well. Again, just thought that it is something that we should be focusing on, because it really, really can be of help to our youngsters, and certainly have them more prepared when they get out on the roads, not only in the roads of the Cayman Islands, but elsewhere. So back to the issue of driver defensive driving. There are three cornerstones of defensive driving that are really highlighted and that are more emphasis is placed on than others. And I want to start with those three cornerstones of defensive driving. Driving may be the most dangerous task that the modern man performs on a regular basis. Vehicles are the safest they have ever been, and new technology gives drivers the feeling of sanctuary from external hazards. But collisions at highway speeds continue to show us that these technological advancements have yet to make driving a risk-free task. Driving is never risk-free. Central amongst the remaining risks are the vehicular operators with whom one is forced to share the road with. There are those who intentionally drive aggressively, act like traffic rules are for drivers with less prowess than they, and perhaps even take pride in their ability to stunt. Arguably, even more dangerous are those drivers who hit the road with little thought given to the skill driving requires. These drivers may think of driving only as a means to get where they are going and not as a proficiency worth developing. Both of these types of drivers are dangerous to themselves and others, but probably do not think of themselves in that way. And we see that happening right here on the roads in the Cayman Islands as well. So the first cornerstone is to consider preventability versus fault. What you can prevent as opposed to, someone being at fault. The second is be mindful of the following distance, something that many drivers are guilty of. They are right up tailgating you. And the third one is remain detached from other drivers. That is what I was talking about earlier, giving you that space around you so that if something happens, you can have some maneuvering space. You do that by determining how close you are to other vehicles, not only those in front of you, but also those in the rear of you, those to the side of you as well. I believe we have a caller. We have enough time still to accommodate that caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. I just had a call back.
Sure. Not a problem at all.
2 days ago, I was heading into town. Got to Pedro by Star Apple Drive Road.
Mm-hmm.
And a vehicle in front of me, seen a green iguana, stopped in the middle of the road on that corner, put on the emergency flashers. The vehicle behind me almost hit me. I mean, the car came to a dead stop, put on his emergency flashers, and he had enough time to get out, walk around his car before he moved off again.
Mm-hmm.
And he only moved off because the car behind me blew their horn.
Wow.
I mean, where is the common sense? On a corner? Because you know where Star Apple is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going into town, so it's not even like you cross Will T. You got a little stretch there to get to Star Apple.
Right.
This is coming from east. I mean, that was a height of stupidity, because that could have caused a chain reaction in accidents.
It certainly could. Yes. Very extremely dangerous.
Yeah. So when you talk about defensive driving, half of these people, or 3/4, I would say, only know how to turn the wheel from left to right,
mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yep.
They don't use their head to say, well, hey, look, what is danger, what is not. Something has to be done. And also when it comes to the driving instructors, you say that the department licensed them? I believe so.
I was advised that they had to be licensed. Now, I'm not sure whether or not the person is saying if you have a driving school, you have to license the driving school. But I got the impression that the instructors also had to be licensed.
I don't think so.
Okay, I will.
I mean, I have some. You would say some proof of that, because I know a young lady that went. And also these vehicles should be inspected, because a young lady went into one, and I know the young lady personally,
mm-hmm.
and the very indicators wasn't working properly.
Mm.
You had to hold it on, because if you turn it loose, it came back to neutral position. And he said the instructor never paid attention to her driving. Only paid attention to her.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So he was there looking at her, trying to get her phone number, trying to get her name, and come on.
But I'm sure he could have. All of that could have been obtained, even though as questionable as it would be, when the vehicle is stationary.
Correct.
Yeah. Now I know that there are other jurisdictions. Like I said, I taught driving in New York. There are some requirements. Some states you're required to have dual steering as well as dual brakes, so that the instructor can take control of the vehicle while they're teaching you. I don't know what the requirements are here, but I'll try to find where I can.
I think one or two vehicles here have them.
Okay.
I don't think they have the dual steering, but I know they do.
Dual brake.
Have the dual braking system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But, yeah. So I can safely say I don't think that they're licensed or checked.
I will certainly check on that as well. Caller, I want to thank you very much. We've reached that point in time today, folks. I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice